So in the last two videos, we explored the science and psychology behind self-deception in great detail. Today, I'm distilling those insights into a single practical review, the 18 key ways we deceive ourselves, drawn from both works that I cited in my previous videos. Whether you followed the whole series or you're joining for the first time, this session will give you a clear, actionable overview of the hidden habits that shape our thinking and how to spot them in your own life. So let's dive deep into the core biases that keep us from seeing ourselves clearly. Hey everyone, I'm Henry, and you're watching day 46 of my channel, Henry's Millions, where I deep dive into psychology, philosophy, spirituality, and mind mastery, helping you unlock your personal potential and understand the forces that shape your life. All right, I hope you enjoyed the last two videos about self-deception. Very, very insightful, and was very thought-provoking for me as well. So I distilled these 18 biases that may affect us at one point or another, and I'm going to share them with you right now. This should be a nice, short and sweet video. So let's get started. The first one is called negative misinterpretation. It's where people dismiss unwelcome evidence as flawed while accepting favorable data, as in studies where participants rated studies supporting their position as more sound than those that contradicted it. This selective skepticism is reduced by self-affirmation, which shows its motivational roots. So have you ever read a news article that challenged your beliefs and immediately thought, oh, that's just bad research? Notice how quick we are to dismiss uncomfortable facts. And the interesting thing is about self-affirmation is you'll see that it's related to a lot of these, where if you are more self-affirmed, then you're less afraid or sensitive of information that doesn't support your motivations, your beliefs. All right, second one, positive misinterpretation. Ambiguous or contrary evidence is reinterpreted in a way that supports your pre-existing beliefs, leading to even more polarized attitudes after exposure to the mixed evidence. Why do two people see the same evidence and walk away with opposite conclusions? Next time you debate with someone, ask yourself, am I twisting the facts to fit my story? So that's positive misinterpretation. We reinterpret things to support our own narrative. Third one, selective focusing or attention. People focus on information that supports their goals and ignore the rest. For example, eye tracking studies show older adults look toward positive stimuli and away from negative ones when they're in a bad mood, sacrificing information for emotional goals. So think about how you scroll through social media. Do you linger on compliments and breeze past criticism? Our attention naturally gravitates towards what feels good. Then there's number 4, selective evidence gathering. Desires can unconsciously guide people to seek out evidence that supports what they want to believe and avoid evidence that threatens it. Such as when a person only consults sources likely to confirm a preferred view or avoids medical tests out of fear of bad news. So challenge yourself here. When you research a topic, deliberately seek out sources that disagree with your initial opinion. This helps break the cycle of selective evidence gathering. I mean, I can relate to this every time I'm searching on Google, or when we used to use Google a lot more often than AI today. But you know, we're just looking, we're priming or prompting in such a way that it's giving us evidence that support the statements we're making or the thoughts we're having. All right, number 5, confirmation bias. This one should be very well known to most of you. After making a decision, people recall and seek information that supports their choice and forget or discount evidence that does not, especially when it serves to protect their self-image or maintain a desired belief. So, have you ever Googled something just to prove you were right? Try searching for arguments against your own view. See how that feels. You might be surprised by what you find. Number 6 on our list of 18 biases. All right, it's called the vividness availability bias. People give more weight to vivid or easily recalled information, particularly when it aligns with their desires, leading to overestimation of risks or benefits based on memorable stories rather than statistics. So after hearing a dramatic story about a plane crash, for example, do you feel more nervous about flying, even though it's statistically safe? Our brains latch on to vivid examples, not probabilities. So it's always good to do that double check. Look at the data, look at the facts, and not just what's most vivid or available. That's a real good one. All right, 7, causal explanation bias. People unconsciously construct self-serving causal narratives for their actions, such as blaming external circumstances for their failures and attributing successes to internal factors, often without realizing the bias. Oh, this is this is a great one. You know, if I had a dime for every time I saw a very successful or wealthy individual, they always attributed their success to their own prowess and intelligence, never to luck or circumstance. And then whenever something went wrong with someone, it's always external circumstances. It was never their own bad decision, poor decision making, or their own doing. So think back to the last time something went wrong for you. Did you blame the circumstances or did you blame yourself? We often create stories that protect our self-image, sometimes without realizing it. And when we do that, we lose the opportunity for learning and for making adjustments and changes that can benefit us in the long term. All right, next one. Next one is 8, self-serving skepticism. Individuals are more critical of information that challenges their beliefs and readily accept supporting evidence. A process shown to be self-deceptive because it is reduced by self-affirmation. That's another one that's reduced by self-affirmation. So individuals are more critical of information that challenges their beliefs. Makes a whole lot of sense. Studies show we're much more critical of information that threatens our beliefs than information that supports them. So you can ask yourself, am I being fair or am I just being defensive? I can think of a lot of conversations where that would have been good for the other person. Moving on, number 9, motivated reasoning. When people feel secure in their self-worth through self-affirmation, they are less defensive and more open to challenging information, showing that motivated reasoning is driven by self-deceptive motives. So if you feel defensive about feedback, pause and remind yourself of your core values. This can make it easier to process challenging information without distortion. Very good one to remember. Replay that one. Number 10. We got 18. We're at 10 here, okay? 18 biases that we use to deceive ourselves. Number 10, memory distortion. Memory distortion, aka misremembering. So people recall past events in ways that flatter themselves, such as misremembering their skills before a study skills class, as worse than they actually were to exaggerate their improvement. Or recalling, for example, that their cholesterol was lower than it really was. So why do memories of past failures fade while our successes stay vivid? Try writing down your recollections before and after a big event. You might notice the story changing over time. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ooh. You know, everybody thinks that whatever they go through, whether it's some life event, something within their control or out of their control, even as simple as a course or certification, and as complex and difficult as a life challenge, something traumatic, and they forget what their baseline was, you know? And everybody's changed. Everybody's just so different now, so much more improved. Reality check. All right, moving on. Number 11, rationalization. Rationalization. That's a good one. It involves inventing plausible and socially acceptable explanations for questionable behavior, often after the fact without conscious intent to deceive oneself, such as justifying selfish actions as unavoidable. Ooh, I've seen that. People can really rationalize bad or questionable behavior. You've got some people just have the greatest excuses, the greatest justification or rationalization, and you could be listening to it and it makes no sense at all. And you're just scratching your head and you're like, are they really believing this stuff? Unfortunately, they are. It's rationalization. You got to avoid that. So you be the better model here, better person. Avoid rationalization. And if someone's rationalizing, I mean, you may or may not want to call them out on it. All right, number 12, derogation of others. That's where somebody's putting someone else down, right? Derogatory, derogation of others. Self-enhancement and derogation of others are two sides of the same coin. People elevate themselves by seeing others negatively, as shown when participants who failed a test derogated an out-group member and genuinely believed their negative assessment. That's terrible. Putting other people down just so that we make ourselves look better or feel better. Yeah, not very good. So notice how in group conflicts or online debates, people often put down the other side to feel better about themselves. But this bias can fuel division and hostility between people. Number 13, overconfidence or self-enhancement. People genuinely believe inflated self-assessments, seeing themselves as more attractive than they are, for example, which boosts confidence and social influence, but can lead to poor decisions. So have you ever watched someone audition for a talent show who was convinced they'd win, but clearly they weren't ready? We all have blind spots about our abilities, and sometimes a little humility goes a long way. Like this whole overconfidence racket, like there's so much material and content online telling people just to fake it till they make it, or just exude confidence even when there's no reason for that overconfidence to be there. I mean, certain level of confidence is good, and it should be tied to reality. It should reflect the person's characteristics and traits, right? But when it's completely distorted and it's disconnected from reality, that's ridiculous. So I'm a firm believer in that people should have a reality-based account of themselves and reflect that to the world in a healthy way, and not be overconfident or overly self-enhancing to meet people, to persuade people, and so on. All right, enough on that. Number 14, convincing ourselves that a lie is true. Through repetition and rehearsal, people can come to believe their own fabrications. And it's shown in classic experiments where people eventually believe a tedious task is interesting after telling others that it is. Oh, that is something. Did you know that repeating a story, even a made-up one, can make you believe it's true? Our minds are surprisingly easy to trick, even by ourselves. 15, illusory control. We're almost done here. I hope you've enjoyed those so far. Number 15, illusory control. When people feel a lack of control, they perceive patterns or agency where none exists, like conspiracy beliefs. And this effect is stronger when people feel powerless. And it's also reduced by self-affirmation. So have you ever worn a lucky shirt for an exam or a game thinking it would help? We crave control and sometimes invent it, even when it's just an illusion. Yeah, I just wonder if all the things that we do thinking it would make us lucky, allow us to exert more positive control over the future to achieve more positive outcomes, whether it's lucky numbers or lucky things or ways of habit or doing things. Illusory control. Number 16, avoiding information. Here we go. People often stop searching for information when early results are favorable, or they avoid evidence that could be threatening, such as avoiding medical tests or stopping information search when they're satisfied with the initial results. Avoiding information. Remember, we talked about that. That's where neither your conscious nor your unconscious mind have access to it. Is there a message or result that you've been putting off reading just in case it's bad news, right? Like that email, that text message, or that piece of item in the mail. We all avoid information sometimes, but facing it can be empowering. Number 17, dissociation. That's what they call the non-unitary mind in the research that I used for the last two talks. Dissociation. The mind can hold conflicting beliefs or attitudes at conscious and unconscious levels, enabling people to act on socially undesirable impulses while consciously denying them. Supported by research on implicit versus explicit attitudes. So how can we hold two conflicting beliefs at once, like knowing smoking is bad but still lighting up? Our minds are more compartmentalized than we realize. That's a long word, compartmentalized. Our minds are really compartmentalized. Number 18, final one, last one. It's called potential awareness. People may be aware that unwelcome information is available, but avoid it to maintain comfort. It's a state called potential awareness, such as stopping information search before encountering unwanted truths. Like somebody searching online and they know eventually they're going to get to this kind of information, but so they stop before that. So have you ever stopped digging into a topic because you sensed you wouldn't like what you'd find? That I'd rather not know feeling is potential awareness in action. All right, there you have it. Those are the 18 biases, ways that we deceive ourselves. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't watched the previous two videos, I highly recommend you do, about self-deception. They're based on two separate research works by very, very capable and thinking, highly intelligent authors or writers. So thank you for joining me today. Please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel. It costs you nothing and takes a second. I'd appreciate it. And look out for the next installment. Take care. Every time.